Okay. Yeah, this is something that's been bugging me. Um,
But yeah, I mean, and
this
then
video,
I, I
this
I think the immediate solution would be to get rid of moving.
like that's kind of like a sentiment I don't really like, you know? Like I know like it's I don't know, I feel like uh in general like people like who play like NMPC and no moving are a lot less accepting of moving than people who play uh moving. Like and I feel like I don't know, like he did take it back immediately after, I think.
No, I guess I doubt that's happening.
Or not really, but like I feel like that's like kind of like a bad sentiment to have. So like I don't know, like that's kind of like an L take, I would say. Um, and like uh, yeah, I feel like moving is just as valid of a game mode as everything else. I mean, most people are accepting that now, but I still feel like it's kind of stupid to treat moving as like an inferior game mode when it's like when it's just as if not more skillful than no moving. Maybe not as skillful as NPC, but still very skillful. Um, and it's like it gets like people say things like reading is cheating or like stuff like that. It's just rainbow and whatever. I don't know. It's kind of cringe, I would say. Um, and people, I mean, honestly, no move tournaments and NPC tournaments are cool, and I think they're pretty fun. Even like you don't have to have all three game modes in a tournament, but I don't know. Because also another thing in the video he's talking about um, how like there's latency and stuff. But most of my duels that are moving, I like am able to do like if you learn enough information about different countries, it does take a little while, but you can and if you also learn how to find info quickly, you can get info really close to start while the other person's just moving forward and forward and forward. Like you don't need to move that far to get info on a good map. Like you just need to know where to find it in different countries. Like I don't know, like I guess there's not that many guides to it, but I mean, some of the things I found recently um, is that, for example, most countries people say you don't look for info on advertising boards because people like even Zigzag said in a video they're like he's like oh they're useless, but actually I would say there's one country maybe or technically two that this is not the case, which is Ukraine and Russia because like on Billboard specifically, they're honestly more consistent than rail stations. Like this one probably says Saransk, but see, it doesn't. It says Vokzal, which means train station. Um, but then if I go in like part, there's usually on the main road. There's like um, a billboard somewhere, maybe a little bit more out of town. Oh yeah, near Saransk stripes. It's good to remember. Let me see. There's no advertising on that one. You see Saransk. It says Saransk there, even though it didn't say it on the train station, which is usually more consistent for finding place names. So that's one tip. I guess another tip would be in Mexico, which this is harder to keep consistent, but if you're on a main road, like, what city is this? Like, how about we do El Arenal? If you're on a main road, um, there's usually like car dealerships, um, where it, where's Hmm. I guess this works. Yeah, so like they say the city name a lot. Also, one thing you need to worry about in Mexico specifically, I know from experience, if you see a state name with no context for anything that looks like a city name, like it says like food from Durango or something, or like San Luis Potosi style clothing or something, it's it can easily not be the right state. Um, like this says Jalisco, because yeah, it usually has this the three-letter abbreviation and then the name of the place. I just got that in a duo actually. Um, it's a good example. I don't know. I don't really have any good examples right now, but I seen Durango be on a sign um, in Oaxaca, and I've seen similar things like that. Look here, look, Morelos. If you tunnel vision on just a state name in Mexico, you could easily get a bad guess. So you always need to be careful about that. That's one important thing that I could mention too. Um, but yeah, so then this is kind of a shorter video, I guess. But um, yeah, I guess also learn your cowboy pattern, learn your German cowboy pattern, um, and hmm, that's all I have to say really. Yeah, because I've is just very very difficult to find place names in an urban area. Usually, you just have to go until you find a highway. Um, as far as in my experience. Um, mm, yeah, but you really just have to learn how to get place information in each country. Because even if you know a ton of cities, it doesn't really help if you can't use them. So, yeah, there's my moving advice and my zigzag rant. So yeah, and like I said, like I feel like it's kind of cope. Like it is a bit slower, but I don't do fast moving because I press space um to guess. I always put my marker down, and I'm too paranoid. I'm gonna guess early. Um, but I'm usually fine because I know what to look for info on. Because the classic beginner player who looks for info on everything. But like with like more advanced players, you can usually find info closer. If the map is not well made, like if the map has too much row, then that's the problem. But even then, you usually just insta-send on those rounds. So, like, you don't bother going all the way for info if it's more than like a minute, in my opinion. Like in that case, insta-sending's fine, as long as you know where you want to go. There's been times where I've had people insta-send and they just have no idea where it is, and then like I ignore the country, and that's kind of like, I mean, yeah, whatever. So yeah, be good at the game, I guess, and don't hate on moving because it's just as valid as other game modes.